All right, welcome everyone to this week's Nym community call. It is going to be as prestigious as ever. Some people call it the best event humanity has ever created, which I have to agree with. I believe that it's a very prestigious, excellent event. This is going to be a solo episode, so you're going to be listening to Sudo rambling for about an hour. Hopefully everybody's very happy about that. It's good to see Rocio in the chat. Rustam is already in the chat. Welcome everyone. So today, again, this is going to be a solo episode, so no guests this time, maybe next week, but I'm not sure. I'm actually pretty happy to do a solo episode. We have some stuff to test out with Salazar in the background. Most of the tests will be next week if we can also do a solo episode next week. But anyways, that's besides the point. Thanks everyone for joining. And today we're going to talk about my little trip to Kazakhstan, which you hopefully already know about because I shared some updates on the Nym Telegram about it, and also we had a community call live from Kazakhstan, Almaty, Kazakhstan, last week. Hopefully you watched it. I just want to go through what happened in Kazakhstan, why in the first place I went there, and what kind of stuff we were up to together with our dear friend Uncle Lem. So we're going to go through that, and since there's no guest, there's going to be games today. So get your fingers ready to be able to type the right answer fast. You can already warm up. It's gonna happen in, I don't know, about 30-40 minutes, so you can already get ready, maybe take some deep breaths, because it's going to be a life or death type of situation. All right, of course at the end I'll also do a bit of Q&A, so if you have any questions about anything that I'm talking about, then you can drop them in chat. And with all of that said, wait, am I leaving anything out? Let me check my notes here real quick. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself, which I always forget. I'm Sudo, aka Simon. I'm head of community at Nym, and I'll be your host for tonight or this morning, depending on where you are. All right, so let's jump right in. So the image that you've already seen, this is a real image, by the way. People were asking me whether it's AI or it's actually me. This is actually me. What was I doing in Kazakhstan? Well, so first of all, Central Asia is a bit, it's like off the radar, to be honest, for most Westerners. We don't know much about the region. Not a lot of people have visited the region, even though I think that's kind of wrong, because it's a pretty important region, as you will learn, hopefully, from my little introduction to it. So that was one of the goals for me to go there, just to look around and to better understand and yeah, just learn about the region. Now, of course, I don't want to reduce the whole region of Central Asia to Kazakhstan. It's just one country, one very big country in the region. But it's a good start, right? So that was one of the reasons, and of course, the other reasons was to finally get to meet and do some focused work with our dear beloved community contributor, Uncle Lem. And we did that. That was excellent. That was truly excellent. It was really nice to finally meet him in person after hanging out online in various chat applications and groups and stuff like that for about 4 years now. So it was quite the experience. Now, of course, as you probably saw, maybe Saul can be kind enough to find us a link to the previous community call. We also did a live one with Dimash, who's a local hacker. He also runs a local hackerspace, and one of the goals for me to go there was basically to meet people like him, and also hopefully both with folks like him, and also with the participants of the competition that I'm gonna be talking about for the rest of my presentation, to onboard some new people to the Nym community, to get some new contributors, and grow ever bigger, basically, in this new valuable region of Central Asia and within that Kazakhstan. So we also did some meetings with Uncle Lem, with the Almaty staff. More about Almaty in a second. Almaty is a university in Almaty, and there are some upcoming events that we may also partner up with them for. So there's going to be an IT accelerator event that's fairly soon, and there's also going to be a hackathon next year, which Nym may partner with them for. So stay tuned for updates on that if that ever happens. Hopefully, I can also visit Kazakhstan again in the not too distant future. Yeah. All right. So with all of that said, let's get into crack it. So as I mentioned, Crack It, this competition that was the main event that we went to, was organized by AlmaU, which is the business university of Almaty, Kazakhstan, and it is basically a business case solving championship where all of the students you see here, about 300 people actually, so there's no small event, gathered to solve business cases that were brought by various partners. One of those partners was Nym, and in total there were 300 people. I'm not sure how many teams. What I know is that 10 teams competed for our business case, or to solve our business case, and Uncle Lem and myself, we were the judges, and basically the 10 competing teams gave us their presentations, showed their solution to our business case, and then we selected the winners. So that's it in a nutshell. Now, a little bit about the business case that we brought. I think it's a pretty interesting one. We could I can imagine bringing this to similar competitions all around the world. The competition was, or like our business case for the competition was, how can digital privacy become a cultural trend in Central Asia? So that was the key question that the teams needed to answer. And then this is how we defined the problem. Wait, how do I make myself a bit smaller? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. So now you can see the entire text. So yeah, the core problem, as you know, probably many people in the Nym community have already come across this problem. This is something that is a very real problem, not only in Central Asia, but everywhere. Privacy is sort of optional and niche, and also in some situations kind of suspicious. Like, what do you have to hide? You know, the old meme that only people who have something to hide need privacy or fight for privacy. It's a very powerful meme in the world. So not just in Central Asia, and it's also political often. And in reality, right, privacy it signifies economic, or it's needed for economic independence, personal safety, digital sovereignty, and security in the online space. Now, this was the objective for the participants. They had to create a campaign which triggers an emotional reaction, starts real conversations, and converts awareness into action and makes privacy cool. And yeah, so the mission was defined as the following. They had to design a campaign, so the whole campaign end to end, and it had to include a strong core message, right? A bold visual identity, a launch moment, offline and online integration, and a measurable adoption path. These were the sort of criteria that we looked for when we were evaluating the presentations. And let's jump into the first presentation now. I'm not going to bring you the whole presentations, of course, because each of them were 15 minutes. So that's not the goal here. I just wanted to show an overview of those who won at the competition. I forgot to mention that we brought a prize pool to Crack It of 50,000 Nym tokens. The winner got 25,000 Nym tokens. Second place got 15,000 Nym tokens. Third place got 10,000 Nym tokens. And then there was also runner-up, whose slides we're looking at right now. Unfortunately, their project was not complete enough, probably because there were only 2 people in this team, and this is a fairly large undertaking to complete such a project. But we really liked some of its elements, so that's why we selected them as the runner-up. So this first presentation was done by a team of 2 people called, and the team was called Pulse. And basically, what they did was reframed privacy through Central Asian, like nomadic heritage, like that lens, and we really liked it. I particularly liked the. I'm not sure which big cat is this here on the bottom left, but this image I think is particularly nice. And the other great thing, and I'm going to jump to my next slide about their approach, was the carpet. So what they explained during their presentation was that a carpet has a different meaning or different use in Central Asia, or at least in Kazakhstan. I'm not sure if it's true for the whole region, but definitely in Kazakhstan, it has a different use than here in the West. So we just have it mostly as a decoration, but actually for them, it's a place to hang out. It's a place to hang out with others or alone, right? To learn, to play, to have fun. And I really liked, and Uncle Lem agreed. We really liked this analogy, sort of like NymVPN, the Nym network, and therefore your privacy being your place of comfort, where you can just hang out and do whatever you would do, and you decide whether you're private or not. So we really liked it. Yeah, so this was the runner-up. So the fourth place, so to say. We also liked this imagery, which very much like connects the whole campaign to the like the steppes, which comes with the climate of Kazakhstan. Basically, most of Kazakhstan is steppes, the nomadic culture and heritage, and also another important part of their approach was to state through their campaign, or their proposed campaign, that we used to protect our land, right? This was something that all cultures did all throughout humanity, and now our land is basically our digital sovereignty, which is our privacy. So we really liked that approach as well. And I believe the next slide. Yes, the next slide is already from the third place. So this was one of our winners. SDU was the name of the group, and what they did, the core idea that they centered their campaign around, or the core symbol, was the Tumar. So the Tumar is it protects you from the eye of the evil. You probably saw this already. This is just the emoji version of it, but you probably already saw this eye, this like a blue, usually a metal or something like that, with an eye in it. We really like this symbol. So this was one of the excellent aspects of their presentation and their approach. And what they did, basically the core idea, was to create an offline shock moment, and then a seamless funnel to download and try NymVPN, basically. So again, the mascot was the tumor, which is a protective amulet, and then the hook, which we also liked. See the next slide here. The hook was, would you leave your home front door open? So that's also interesting. And this was generally the idea, how they wanted to bring awareness to Nym, is to put photo booths in bigger cities in Kazakhstan, such as Almaty and Astana and Bishkek and other larger cities. And then the users can take a photo, and then they can print the photo with data tags. And there are these QR codes which show their digital aura, and the digital aura was also part of their, I believe that's on my next slide. Yes, was also part of how they visualize the privacy of the users, right? So one of the key problems with privacy, that is, as someone who's been thinking about how to best explain the problem of privacy and why it's important, I can definitely attest to the fact that it's very difficult to bring it close to people. It's very difficult to make it like tangible and sort of visual for them. This very abstract problem of online surveillance and lack of privacy. So we thought that the digital aura and the broken digital aura when your privacy is not protected, and the healed digital aura was sort of like a good visualization of doing so. So yeah, basically the idea here is to go from the broken to the fixed, right? So to heal your digital aura. Yeah. They also did something that we liked, was that they brought a lot of data with their presentation. You can actually, Sal, can you please drop links to the presentations that we're talking about, so that if anybody wants to check the decks in full, then they can do that just by finding them in chat. So you can check the yeah. Sorry, just one second, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so so they brought a lot of data to support their points, and they estimated the total campaign cost to be about $20,000. So we really like to see such realistic like attempts at creating a proper campaign. All right. Now, with all of that said, let's move on to our next winner. This is already in second place. So this was the Normale group, and there What we particularly liked, both Uncle Lem and I particularly liked about their campaign or their proposed campaign was the "Would you post it" as a hook. We think it's a very good one sentence, just only few words reminder of the sort of mindset to have about your data, and where the line is between what's private and what isn't, and why that line is important. So it invokes all of those thoughts all in one line. So we really liked it. And sort of like a longer-winded explanation of this core message was, if you wouldn't post it online, why are you okay with apps collecting it? That's the approach, which is of course very, very good. And moving on to the next slide. And what they imagined was this like privacy health checkup, basically, that people can do. They thought about deploying this checkup with the "Would you post it" sort of hook in public places with sort of public, not so well protected networks like cafes or co-working spaces or university Wi-Fi or stuff like that, with like splash pages, and then leave something like, "This network can see more than you think. Would you post it?" That's the idea. We really liked it. This group also brought a whole bunch of data to support their points, so that we also liked this. These are the reasons why they got second place. So congratulations to them. And then next up, I'll move myself down here again. Oh, not like that. Yeah, like that. So this is the first place, which was Megaminds. We particularly liked this presentation. So please drop a link to them. One of the nice touches about their presentation was that they also brought us some printed pamphlets with all of the key points that they were making, which was really nice to see, and it really helped us to better get immersed in their project. And they centered the whole presentation and their project around family, basically, which is a very, very important. Obviously, it's important in a lot of places, but Kazakhstan is particularly family-centric as a culture. So they centered both the communication aspect of their campaign and also even things like pricing and marketing around the idea of the family. So we really like that. They also added sort of like this this idea of interactive billboards. So you can scan a QR code and then it takes you to a website which tells you how much your data is worth, which is also an interesting approach, because that basically shows people in a very direct and measurable way that it ties the concept of monetary value to your data, which is actually happening. So most of the data collection that we see in the world happens for profit, right? So companies build this mega infrastructure to collect and process our information, to then learn things about us, especially given the fact that they have not only your data, but also other people's data, and then they can infer all kinds of behavioral stuff about people in general, and also especially you, or like specifically you. And this is what we call behavioral surplus. We know this from, I think this concept was first coined. This term was first coined by Zubov, who wrote The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. And yeah, so behavioral surplus is what they basically extract from us by collecting a lot of data about all of us and then analyzing that data together and revealing behavioral patterns that would not be possible otherwise. And all of this is very abstract, but when you tie it, to one individual person's data, and that's worth, like monetary worth, that really like sort of tangibly highlights this connection. So we really liked it. They also came up with, I didn't bring a slide for this, but they also came up with a whole like basically family-based pricing structure, or like a pricing model for Nym, where people can bring family members, and the more family members they bring, the better the price is going to be for all of them, which is a very creative idea. So we really liked it. And overall, the presentation was just very well done and was supported by a lot of data. So this is why they got first place. Congratulations to our winners. I know that some of them may be here with us in the chat. If you are here, then Oh yeah, actually, Uncle M said something important which I forgot. So this is actually a real website, I believe. So you can scan this QR code and check how much your data is worth. Obviously, it's a demo, so it doesn't look at your data specifically or anything like that, but it just shows you um, like how this interactive billboard would work. So yeah, if anybody from any of the four teams, so that's SDU or Normale or Megaminds or Pulse are here, then let us know. And also welcome. I guess this is your first community call. So hopefully you're enjoying yourself, and congratulations to all of you. Oh yeah, and I also forgot that of course, besides NIM tokens, we couldn't leave them without an NymVPN subscription. So all of the winning teams, every member of the winning teams got a 1-year subscription to NymVPN as well. All right, before game time though, let me make myself full screen for this. I also have to say, which I already mentioned in the Nym Telegram group, is that there is one person who I really need to thank here, who's Uncle Lam. So I guess overall Kazakhs are very, very hospitable people. I felt that, you know, from multiple people. But if someone is the absolute king of hospitality, it's Uncle Lam. So he made me feel right at home in Kazakhstan. He made everything so smooth that it's crazy. There was a lot of work involved in that. So he made the whole connection and organization and everything for this whole event, where basically I just had to arrive and like a hand in a glove. We just had to do our thing. So it was really, really well done. And also it was just absolutely lovely to meet you, Uncle Lam. So big thanks also to Amir, his brother, who I also got to know. It was a lovely, lovely time over there. All right. So if you have any questions about Kazakhstan, now I think I know a bit about the country. So you can ask it in chat. But with all of that said, once again, congratulations to all the winners. Big thanks to Uncle M. And then let's move on to game time. All right. Hopefully everybody has their pencils sharpened and also their minds, because this is once again going to be very, very intense. Are we ready for the first question? Right. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the first question is, which change most reduces the chance that a random website can track you across other sites without breaking logins? I'll repeat the question. It's quite the mouthful. Which change most reduces the chance that a random website can track you across other sites without breaking logins? And the options are A, block third-party cookies and keep first-party cookies allowed. B, turn off images in your browser. C, disable autofill. D, turn off JavaScript. Once again, A, block third-party cookies and keep first-party cookies allowed. B, turn off images in your browser. C, disable autofill. D, turn off JavaScript. Give you some time to answer. I see some answers already rolling in. We have an A. Could it be, ladies and gentlemen? Another A, Rocio as well. Any other guesses? All right, another A. I think it's time to reveal the answer. Drum roll, please. And it's A. Congratulations to everyone who said A. But of course, I didn't even say the rules. How rude of me. The rules are first answer, sometimes first two or first few get the point, right? So congratulations to Azane Braza. You got it right. Next up is question 2, which is the following. You run a VPN, but your device still performs some lookups using the network's resolver because of a misconfiguration. Which leak is most likely? All right, I'll repeat the question. You run a VPN, but your device still performs some lookups using the network's resolver because of a misconfiguration. Which leak is most likely? And the options are your full message contents leak in plain text, even if the rest of the traffic is encrypted. That was A, sorry. And then B, domains you access can be inferred. C, your device's IMEI, say that 5 times fast, IMEI is broadcast to websites. D, your VPN private key is exposed to the router. All right, options again. A, your full message contents leak in plain text, even if the rest of the traffic is encrypted. B, domains you access can be inferred. C, your device's IMEI is broadcast to websites. D, your VPN key is exposed to the router. All right, I'll give you some more time, ladies and gentlemen, to try giving me the correct answer. Azan Abraza is on fire today. Very, very quick. Very, very quick. All right, we have an A, we have a D. Any other guesses? All right, D. All right. Now I have to reveal the answer. Drum roll, please. The answer is B. So the domains you access can be inferred. Now, if so, just to comment on the D's, if your VPN's private key is exposed as a result of this, that would be a big problem, and that would be a pretty poor VPN design. So you know, even in this situation, a VPN has to protect such an important piece of private information as your VPN private key. But yeah, domains. Wait a second. I don't think they know my private key. Yes, that's correct. All right, ladies and gents, let's move on to the next question. Oh, sorry, I didn't even say the winner. There's no winner this time because actually nobody got it right. What do we do in this situation? Interesting. Well, I guess Azan and Abraza still got a point, and then there's no points for question 2, but there's still question 3. So don't let up, ladies and gentlemen. You want to make website fingerprinting harder without breaking most sites. Which change typically helps the most in practice? So question again, you want to make website fingerprinting harder without breaking most sites. Which change typically helps the most in practice? All right. And the options are A, disable JavaScript everywhere. B, rotate your Wi-Fi network name each week to confuse trackers on public networks. C, use a browser that standardizes or reduces high entropy APIs, Canvas, WebGL, font metrics. Or D, switch DNS resolver every hour. All right, so options again. Disable JavaScript everywhere was A. B, rotate your Wi-Fi network name each week to confuse trackers on public networks. C, use a browser that standardizes or reduces high entropy APIs, Canvas, WebGL, font metrics. Or D, switch DNS resolver every hour. All right. I see a few answers rolling in. We have a B, we have a C, we have a D. Big spread on this one. I'll give you some more time. All right. And drum roll, please. The answer is C, to use a browser that standardizes or reduces high entropy APIs, Canvas, WebGL, font metrics. These APIs are one of the best ways to fingerprint you. They are given that there's a lot of entropy in them. They are very good. They can be, how do I say this? They can be used very effectively to create a unique fingerprint about you, because your footprint via these can be I can't find the words to explain this. But yeah, anyways, the answer is C, and I failed at explaining why. Rocio says E. Maybe that's an honorable mention. All right, so there can only be one winner, unfortunately, or maybe 2. I make the rules, so maybe there will be 2. But actually, this time, it's fairly clear, ladies and gentlemen, because once again, Azan Abraza give the right answer, which is C, which means they are getting 2 points now, which means they are the winner for today. Great prizes. So congratulations. Very, very fierce competition. So congratulations for all participants. To today's Nym game. All right, so next up is Q&A. If you have any questions for me, then leave them in chat. I already saw a few of them. First from Beyond. All right, wait, let me show you my face for this one. When will Sudo go to Japan? Well, I don't know. I haven't been to Japan yet. I'm not sure if I'll ever go to Japan for Nym-related reasons, maybe for private reasons, but we don't really have a very active community right now in Japan. So a similar like sort of like grassroots initiative that happened here, where Uncle Lem basically brought this opportunity, and then we made use of this opportunity, I think will not happen in Japan. But if you have something cooking Beyond, then make sure to let me know, because I would love to check out Japan as well. Thanks for the question. All right, next one is from Rocio, also another location, when Sudo X location related question. So when Latin America? That's a very good question. Actually, we do have very strong and vibrant community in Latin America, which is sort of illustrated by the fact that you are here with us on every community call, Rocio. And I do wanna go at some point. So I can't give you an exact date, but I'll definitely pop up at some point in Latin America, and hopefully we can also finally hang out with you. So yeah, I can't promise that at some point I will go. I'm not sure when. So maybe if you come across any such opportunities, events where I could represent Nym, or something that we could make happen, such as Crackit, something similar, then let me know, and we can talk about it. I would love to go, definitely, and I would love to hang out with you. Thank you for the question. Next one is also from Rocio. What was it like being a judge at the hackathon? Well, it was not a hackathon. I would not be a good judge at a hackathon because I'm not technical at all. So, but at Crackit, well, I have to say it was it was surprisingly difficult because first of all, it's like a lot of responsibility, because people we will also share on Telegram all of the rest of the presentations. What I can say, and what we really agreed with Uncle Lemon, was that we got some really high quality presentations. So people put a lot of effort into their work, and you are sitting there judging them, and you have to pick the winners, right? So that was difficult. The other thing that was a little bit difficult is to make sure that every presentation is evaluated in a fair way, on the same scale every time, right? So maybe a better way of explaining that, I think we took about maybe 3 hours in total to listen to all the presentations, or thereabouts, 2.5 or something like that, and like to make sure that my score that I gave a 7 for, let's say, I don't know, the presentation itself for one group, and then I gave like 8 to another group, and make sure that actually is across all of the scores I gave, it scales properly and fairly. That was a bit more challenging than I thought, because people are very forgetful, especially me. So it was quite challenging, but it was also very, very fun. So it was very nice. It was very nice. It was the first time I did such a thing, and it was a very nice experience. So yeah, overall excellent stuff, but kind of challenging in a good way. Thank you for the question. Next up is from Jason. Thanks for the question. What are you missing the most from your Kazakhstan trip? Well, do I have to say one thing? Okay, I won't say one thing. I miss definitely Uncle Lem. It was very fun to hang out and finally get to do some focus work sessions together. That was excellent. I also miss maybe I will share a few photos in the Telegram chat about Almaty. It's like this, next to the city, there is this huge, like really, really big, like snowy mountain, and that view I miss. That was pretty amazing. Like anytime you look south in the city, you see behind the buildings there's this like snow-covered huge mountain. That was pretty amazing. So yeah. What else? I guess also the food, although I had the pleasure of you know, being shown the best places by Uncle Lem, who's a big foodie, by the way, if you didn't know. He's a gastro person. So yeah, we had some really good food there. So yeah, that as well. Thanks for the question, Jason. Are you planning to come to Kyrgyzstan? I'm not against it. I'd be happy to go. So especially if there's you know, such an opportunity like Crackit was, you know, we could maybe partner up with some local university or community and do something valuable and fun together. Then why not? Yeah, absolutely. So if you maybe have something in mind, then let me know on Telegram or Matrix, and we can make it happen. It will be fun. All right. Next up is also from Jason. Who was the more lenient judge, you or Uncle Lem? Ooh, that's a good question. Who was more lenient? Actually, uh, I would say it was probably Lem. I would say. Actually, what do you say, Lem? Was it you or me? I'm curious what you think. Uh, and there's a bit of delay, so I won't wait in real time for his answer, but you can read it in chat. I would say, and I will also show it when he answers. But I would say, probably him. Yeah, probably him. Thanks for the question. The next up is also from Rocio. The problem is that I'm really bad at remembering names, especially when they're in a foreign language. I'm just very, very bad at that. So the question is, sorry, I forgot to read it out. About Kazakhstan, name a food, drink, and place you liked. Um, so okay, damn it. I will look up the name of the place because that I know for sure. There is a not so Grand Canyon, as we call it, um, which is like the Grand Canyon in the United States, but uh, it's the Charin Canyon. That place was magnificent. I don't think I've seen anything like it before, so it was really cool. I'm gonna leave a link to it in chat. That was absolutely beautiful. So probably that was my favorite place, if not the ski slopes right next to Almaty. That was also really cool. So about 20-minute by car from the city, which is a big city. There are some ski slopes like on the big mountains. So that was also really cool. Okay, so Lem says that I was the most lenient. I was the more lenient. Um, so yeah, maybe I don't know. So then basically both of us see the other person as the more lenient. Interesting. Okay, question from Rocio. Can we hear about the alpha you mentioned in the last call? I'm sure they've come up with something great for the community. Um, what alpha? Uh, maybe it's not time for that yet, Rocio. I'll share more as soon as I can. All right, ladies and gents, any other questions you have for me today? Actually, that's a good question from Uncle Lem. So the question about Kyrgyzstan, is that someone from Megaminds? Because I know I think I didn't mention it when I talked about Crackit. So Crackit was not just for Almayu students, but also there were like other universities represented at the event, and Megaminds was, for example, from the American University of Central Asia. So yeah, I think they are in Kyrgyzstan. I'd be interested to know. All right, if there are no further questions, then maybe we can wrap up here, but I still have an announcement to make, which is there's going to be the future of Nym UX workshop. So basically the user experience and the overall design language of NymVPN and Nym will be workshopped in just 20 minutes. So I don't have the link yet, I believe. but I will share the link with you guys on Telegram. It's starting in 20 minutes with Hux and Alexei and hopefully probably a whole bunch of other people from Nym. I think I'll be there as well. So if you're interested, then make sure to check it out. And especially if you have ideas and thoughts about where, Nym should go in terms of UX, then make sure to join, because this will be a very interesting call for you. We're going to be showing something that you may have already seen. So Hux in the NymVPN birthday community call showed where we came from, basically, when it comes to NymVPN, which is NymConnect, a very rudimentary and early tool that we created so that people can use the Nym Mixnet for real things, right? And then where we are today. So that evolution will be shown once again, and then there are also going to be some demos, so make sure to join for those as well, about where NymVPN is headed. And yeah, of course, like I mentioned, there's also going to be some ideation, and also we thought about integrating the Nym wallet in NymVPN, which is a kind of cool idea. Right now they are separate apps, and there's some chatter inside Nym that maybe we should make them, maybe we should add these two together and merge them. If you have any ideas on what that would look like, or what would you like to see if that integration ever happens, then make sure to join. So long story short, we're starting at 6 o'clock CET, which is in 18 minutes. Yeah. All right. Some new questions. Some new questions rolled in. Actually, I see one from Rocio. Let me answer this real quick. Yeah. So the question is, what have you learned about what have you learned about privacy when talking to students about it? Well, it's interesting because I thought the sort of solutions and ideas and approaches to privacy is going to be very different in such a distant region that has different roots from Europe. But what I actually found is that, and what you will also see in the presentations, and what I also found in my conversations with the students, is that we sort of very quickly arrive at the same conclusions. So it was also like captured in a lot of presentations how, and you saw solutions to it as well, right? Like how difficult it is to make this otherwise not so tangible, not visible problem to make it like real and tangible for people. That's one thing. The connection, this very deep connection between privacy and sovereignty was also like identified by a lot of people. So basically, we just sent this like a deck, about our business case, and as students started thinking about this problem, they often arrived at the same conclusions that we arrived at Nym. So that was very interesting to me, and it was also nice to see. That means that we're probably onto something at Nym. So that was excellent. Thanks for the question, Rocio. That was a really good one. And then I'll bring this on screen as well. We haven't seen Hux for ages now. He's probably making something big. Yes, so as you learned from that aforementioned birthday call, Hux is indeed head of product now. So he has more responsibilities, and of course he's like very actively involved in as I just mentioned, basically taking NymVPN to the next level when it comes to how it looks, how it feels, and how it operates. So that's a big task. He is indeed working on big things, but if you want, I can bring him back. Bring him back for another call. All right, thanks for that comment. With all of that said, if there are no further questions, we still have 15 minutes, so you can still ask questions. But the last thing that I need to do is the usual thing. I need to give you the password. The password today is Bulashuk. And for those who are here for the first time, we have this little tradition at Nym. You can claim a little NFT if you participate in these calls and if you hang out with me here, which is basically a little souvenir to commemorate us hanging out today. So what you need to do is the usual. So you need to go to nym.com/go/POAP, and you need to answer the secret phrase bolashak, and bolashak means future in Kazakh. So I thought, given the fact that so I actually asked Uncle M to give me a good word, and he gave me future, and I didn't ask for another one, and I'll tell you why. Let me tell you a bit about Kazakhstan and how I felt in Kazakhstan. What I keep repeating, because that's how it really felt, is that Kazakhstan smells like spring, and not in the literal sense. So not because of the trees blossoming and stuff like that. Actually, I think that still hasn't happened yet. It's more like winter there, but in sort of like an abstract sense. Kazakhstan has gone through a really big change over the past decade or so, maybe a bit more. It's coming up a lot. It has developed a lot, and I can sense it that it's gonna continue, and it just, I don't know, everything is just so quickly developing and fast moving, and it does smell like spring, like the beginning of something new. It was my definitive sense while I was there that this country will develop very fast going forward. So you can sense it everywhere, and yeah, that's also my hope for Kazakhstan in the future. So that's why the word is future. Let me bring back the slide for just another second. It's Bolashak, the word, as spelled on screen, all non-capital letters. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. With all of that said, maybe the shortest community call on record so far, only 47 minutes. I will say goodbye. Don't forget to join the Nym UX workshop if you're interested. I'm gonna as soon as I have the link, I'm gonna share it on the Nym Telegram chat. So keep an eye there, and yeah, see you all there. Otherwise, if you are celebrating Easter, then happy Easter for you, which is of course tomorrow, and also on Monday. And see you all next week. Bye, everyone.